Everything is shifting faster than anyone expected. Between July 27th and 31st, the sky unlocks a sequence of energies that demand movement. The moon charges through Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio, pulling hidden emotions, decisions you can't postpone, fast-tracking what's stuck, and leaving zero room to look away. These are the final days of July, but they don't feel like an ending. They feel like the beginning of a timeline that was waiting for this exact moment. If you've been waiting for a clear sign, this is it. Stay with me until the end of this video, because I'll share the exact insights and actions you need to align with this powerful timeline. But first, like this video, subscribe, and drop 11 in the comments to lock in the energy of this activation. Between July 27th and July 31st, the moon moves through Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio, creating a chain of momentum that can't be ignored. In Virgo, it refines what's been unclear, sharpening your awareness of what's out of balance. As it shifts into Libra, relationships and unspoken dynamics come to the surface, showing you where harmony is real and where it's been an illusion. And in Scorpio, it goes deeper, activating truth that can no longer stay hidden. At the same time, Mars aligns with Neptune, a transit the ancients saw as the meeting of action and higher vision. It's a moment where what you do and what you truly believe begin to align. In myth, this mirrors the story of Perseus navigating the guidance of the gods before facing Medusa, clarity born from unseen support. This isn't random motion, it's a sequence designed to align you with a timeline that was waiting for this exact week. On July 28th, the moon aligns with Mars, creating a spark that refuses to be ignored. It's a meeting of instinct and motion, a cosmic reminder that clarity doesn't always arrive quietly. It pushes you toward what you already know is overdue. Mars moves with urgency, but the moon carries memory, pulling forward what has been lingering in the background of your life. Together, they activate decisions you've been circling around for weeks, even months, but couldn't move on until now. These alignments aren't just planetary movement, they're inner triggers. They awaken parts of you that have been waiting for the right timing to surface. You might catch yourself drawn to conversations that matter more than you expected, reconnecting with truths you had set aside, or realizing that some paths are no longer negotiable. It's not about rushing forward. It's about finally stepping into what's already been aligning for you. Spiritually, this is a refinement. When the moon passes through Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio between July 27th and 31st, it filters through layers of clarity, balance, and deep truth. Virgo sharpens what needs structure. Libra weighs what deserves your energy. Scorpio removes anything that can't move with you into what's next. It's like an energetic scan, upgrading the way you see your own value and the connections you keep around you. Your light body responds to this shift, whether you're consciously aware of it or not. Small upgrades ripple through your awareness, more intuitive nudges, sharper alignment with what feels authentic, a stronger pull toward the environments and people that truly nourish you. It's a moment where the inner and outer worlds synchronize, where what you've been quietly preparing for meets the right conditions to unfold. This isn't about waiting for change. It's about recognizing that change is already underway, reshaping how you show up in the days ahead. These 5 days move differently, almost like time has its own rhythm. You might catch yourself wide awake, long past the hour you'd normally drift off. Not because something is wrong, but because your system is running on a higher frequency than usual. It's like your inner wiring is recalibrating, syncing with a flow that doesn't match the usual routine. Sleep may feel lighter, shorter, or interrupted, but it's not exhaustion. It's an upgrade in progress. There's also a wave of emotions that seem to arrive without warning. One moment you're calm, the next there's a rush of tears or sudden clarity about something you've been holding inside. This isn't regression, it's your inner layers making space for what's next. When the heart stirs in ways you can't quite name, it's simply your alignment catching up with the truths you've outgrown. Some of you may experience physical signals like a subtle ringing in the ears, a strange hum in the background of your awareness, or a heaviness that comes and goes without reason. Think of it as the body's way of tuning into a higher channel. These sensations are not here to harm you. They are signs of activation, signals that your energetic field is stretching beyond what it used to hold. You might also feel drawn to clean out your space, change your routines, or even disconnect from conversations that no longer feel aligned. These impulses are guidance, not random thoughts. It's your entire being preparing for a shift that's already set in motion. Every moment of discomfort carries purpose. The emotions surfacing are the ones you no longer need to carry. The restless nights are openings for deeper integration. The unexpected surges of energy are proof that you're receiving even when you don't yet see what's coming. Nothing is out of place. This is what alignment looks like before it becomes visible. These final days of July 2025 carry a strange honesty. They strip away the masks you've been wearing, the small lies you've told yourself to keep moving forward. What you've pushed aside quietly begins to surface, not to punish you, but to show you what can no longer stay buried. The moon's passage through Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio between July 27th and 31st opens the kind of space where truth can't be avoided. This new moon portal doesn't arrive softly. It brings a mirror that reflects both your light and the shadows you've tried to outrun. Unresolved fears often arrive disguised as irritation or sudden waves of doubt. Old memories you thought you outgrew may reappear, not to drag you backward, but to remind you of the lessons still waiting for your acceptance. The shadow self is not an enemy. It's a part of you asking to be acknowledged, like a child who has been silenced too long. Even the most uncomfortable realizations are invitations to free yourself from what has quietly dictated your choices for years. Karmic threads tied to old connections can become louder during this time. You may notice the resurfacing of people or situations that once triggered you, but this time, the reaction is different. You see the cycle more clearly. You understand where it began, and you have the choice to close it. Think of this like untangling knots you didn't even know you were carrying. What returns is not here to stay. It's here so you can finally release it. Psychologists like James Hollis have often said, the unconscious will keep directing your life until it becomes conscious. These days are that exact bridge. They show you where your wounds have been running the story without your awareness. It can feel raw to confront the parts of yourself you'd rather not see. But this is where your deepest power lies. What rises now is not your downfall, it's the beginning of real clarity. When you meet the parts of yourself you once avoided, you stop running from your own life. These days don't destroy you, they reveal you. And once revealed, the weight you've carried quietly for years finally loses its hold. A shift this big doesn't arrive quietly. It moves through you in layers, reshaping how you see yourself and what you're capable of. It's not about becoming someone new, it's about unlocking the parts of you that were always waiting for the right moment to emerge. This is that moment, the one where old versions of you step aside, making space for the self that aligns with where your soul has been leading you all along. When the moon crosses Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio between July 27th and 31st, it doesn't just illuminate the hidden parts of your life, it activates them. It's like the codes written into your own energy finally start downloading. You might notice a sharper intuition, a knowing that comes without explanation. Decisions that once took weeks of overthinking now become clear in seconds. It's as if a new channel of guidance has opened, one that bypasses logic and speaks straight to the truth. This is how spiritual timelines shift. The body begins syncing with higher frequencies, adjusting to carry more light. You may feel drawn to certain practices, foods, or environments without even knowing why. It's your system naturally aligning with what it needs to sustain this upgrade. Chakras that were muted start to pulse with new life. Your throat opens to speak what you've held back. Your solar plexus awakens to reclaim confidence that once seemed out of reach. And the heart begins expanding beyond old stories of loss. As this activation deepens, new gifts begin to surface. For some, it's an amplified sense of inner vision, a clarity in meditation or reflection that brings answers faster than before. For others, it's an emotional strength, an ability to remain steady even when life tests you. These gifts aren't random. They are the tools you need for the path ahead. They arrive right on time, because your soul is stepping into a phase where they'll be required. Transformation doesn't happen by force. It happens when you're finally ready to stop holding back what's always been inside you. These days act as a reset, clearing the static of doubt and hesitation, so the true frequency of your purpose can broadcast without interference. Think of it as a software update for your spirit, one that unlocks features you didn't realize you carried. The shift isn't about leaving behind the past with bitterness. It's about carrying its lessons lightly, without letting it weigh down your future. You're not losing anything essential. You're simply releasing what no longer matches the person you are becoming. From here, the steps you take will hold more impact, because they align with who you really are, not who you once pretended to be. This activation isn't a one-time moment. It's the opening of a spiritual timeline that continues to unfold in waves, each one revealing more of your own potential. What begins now will ripple through every part of your life, reshaping how you connect, create, and move forward. It's not about waiting for the change anymore. It's about realizing the change is already within you. Movements in the sky ripple through more than just your individual path. When the moon transitions through its late July shifts, it creates a resonance that extends far beyond personal awakening. From July 27th and July 31st, the current of change begins threading itself through communities, through systems, through the unseen bonds that link people together. It's not a quiet undercurrent, it's a rearrangement of priorities, a reshuffling of what matters on a global scale. During this stretch of time, the lunar influence activates the deeper layers of human interaction. Relationships, whether personal, professional, or societal, begin revealing their true purpose. Some connections will strengthen, becoming catalysts for growth, while others will loosen naturally, unable to hold on to what's evolving. It's not about loss or gain, it's about clarity. The moon's passage through Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio brings accountability, balance, and transformation all in one sequence. It's a celestial reminder that collective growth cannot happen without individual alignment. What's interesting is how quickly the external mirrors the internal. During these transitions, conversations take on a different weight. People speak with more truth, sometimes unintentionally exposing what they were avoiding. Systems that have been operating on outdated principles show their cracks more visibly. It's as though reality itself is being edited to reflect authenticity over illusion. These final days of July aren't about endings or beginnings. They're about revealing what's real enough to survive the shift. This kind of awakening doesn't arrive in a single event. It unfolds in layers that reach every level of society. You may see it in the small choices people make, choosing honesty over convenience, choosing community over competition, and at the same time, you'll notice it in larger movements. Policies being questioned, leadership being challenged, truths that were once buried surfacing into the public eye. It's the same energy expressed at different scales. The micro and the macro are in sync. Every person who steps into more clarity contributes to the wider field of transformation. When you release what no longer matches your truth, you indirectly give permission for others to do the same. It creates a chain reaction. And when enough individuals do this, entire timelines shift. This is why these days are so significant. They carry an amplified potential for collective change, because the lunar energy moves through signs that demand refinement, balance, and deep reformation. It's not about forcing everyone to awaken at the same pace. It's about how the frequency of truth naturally reveals itself. Some will embrace it, aligning with the call to upgrade their lives. Others may resist, holding tightly to what they believe is stable. Either way, the movement continues. The energy doesn't wait for permission. It moves where it's invited, and it moves where it's resisted, creating the exact experiences people need to grow beyond their current state. The collective shift is not separate from your personal journey. It's an extension of it. As you recalibrate your own energy, you contribute to the recalibration of the whole. Think of it as tuning an instrument. Once it resonates correctly, the music it creates blends harmoniously with others. One voice, one choice, one alignment begins influencing the greater song. That's why the moon's movement through these signs matters, not only for your internal evolution, but for how it reflects into the structures we all share.
There's also a noticeable shift in how time is experienced collectively during this period. Events accelerate. Outcomes that would normally take weeks seem to unfold within days. This compression isn't random. It's a sign that the collective is entering a more responsive state. When people think, decide, and act from a place of higher clarity, the lag between intention and manifestation shortens. You'll start to see more synchronicity in group dynamics, more coincidences that are really signs of alignment spreading through circles of influence. This is also a time where hidden leadership emerges, not the loud performative kind of leadership, but the quiet influence of people who've been steadily working on themselves, now naturally guiding others without even trying. These are the ones who anchor calm amidst the movement, who inspire others to stay present instead of spiraling into old narratives. The moon's journey through Libra and Scorpio amplifies this archetype, the balance of wisdom and transformative depth becoming more visible in everyday life. When you look at the larger picture, this shift is about humanity upgrading its collective values. What was once acceptable starts to feel outdated. What was ignored now demands attention. The structures of work, relationships, and even personal identity are evolving into something less transactional and more intentional. It's not a sudden revolution. It's a gradual rewiring of what we collectively agree is worth sustaining.
And in the midst of this, you're reminded that your inner work is not separate from the whole. The conversations you have with yourself, the truths you acknowledge in private, the boundaries you set, these all ripple outward. They influence how you show up, which in turn shapes the collective tone. As more people participate in this inward alignment, the external world naturally begins to reflect something higher, something more coherent than before. This is why your personal choices matter more than ever. It's not just about what shifts inside you, it's about how that shift contributes to the unseen fabric connecting us all. One person stepping into alignment is powerful, but when many do it at the same time, it becomes a turning point for the collective timeline itself. As this collective current gains momentum, it begins reconfiguring how humanity organizes itself. Relationships that were transactional start evolving into partnerships rooted in authenticity. Communities begin forming around shared integrity rather than superficial convenience. Even in workplaces and social circles, there's a quiet but undeniable shift toward transparency. The moon's progression through Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio during these late July days activates the deeper blueprint of balance and transformation, not just for individuals, but for entire networks of people. This shift exposes what cannot remain hidden. Truths surface not only in personal lives, but across global conversations. Topics long suppressed begin re-emerging in mainstream awareness. It's not about chaos or upheaval. It's about what's been ignored finally meeting acknowledgement. Systems built on outdated motives start to lose their influence because the collective frequency no longer sustains them. You might see industries transforming, leaders being held accountable, or social values evolving at a pace that once seemed impossible. On a more intimate level, relationships that carry karmic weight become clearer. People who were meant to guide you for a specific chapter might quietly exit, making room for those who align with the next phase. Some connections will feel renewed, as if they've been recalibrated to match your growth. Others may feel stretched thin, unable to survive the heightened awareness this shift brings. And while that may sound challenging, it's ultimately a liberation, clearing space for genuine resonance to thrive. In these moments, every small act of alignment carries amplified impact. Choosing honesty, even in subtle ways, becomes a catalyst for others to do the same. Offering kindness or compassion sparks a chain reaction. Even the way you think about collective issues begins to influence the shared field, because thoughts and emotions have a way of amplifying when the lunar influence moves through signs that emphasize connection and depth. The shift is both personal and relational, and that's why it reaches so far so quickly. You'll also notice how collective movements and personal breakthroughs start mirroring each other. When you release an old narrative, you might see a public figure releasing theirs. When you step into a more authentic version of yourself, a social movement might emerge, reflecting the same energy of reclamation. It's not coincidence. It's alignment unfolding on multiple levels at once. The individual breakthroughs are microcosms of the larger collective shift. As this energy continues to spread, you'll witness a redefinition of leadership. The people stepping forward won't necessarily be the ones with the loudest voices or the most visibility. They will be the ones who embody consistency, clarity, and genuine integrity. Their presence will naturally anchor others, creating spaces where people feel supported to evolve without fear. This is leadership without ego, quietly influential yet deeply impactful. Global systems will also begin reflecting this shift. Institutions built on imbalance start facing undeniable scrutiny, not through external force, but through the simple fact that the collective energy no longer tolerates what lacks truth. It may look like policies changing, long-standing narratives being rewritten, or outdated traditions losing relevance. And while this may unfold gradually, it carries a certainty that cannot be reversed. Once awareness expands, it cannot contract. What's powerful about this collective awakening is how it softens the illusion of separation. People begin realizing that their individual healing and choices are not isolated. They're connected to the wider evolution of humanity. You'll see more collaboration, more creative solutions, more willingness to support rather than compete. It won't happen all at once, but you'll sense its emergence in subtle ways. A shift in the tone of public conversations, new approaches to community, or sudden sparks of innovation born from cooperation rather than rivalry. This is where the concept of the collective timeline becomes real. Every individual moving into higher alignment creates momentum that influences the direction of the whole. And in this particular window at the end of July, that momentum accelerates because the moon's movement intensifies the call for balance, accountability, and deep transformation. The ripple effect of this period will continue unfolding long after these dates pass. Seeds planted during these days will grow into movements, relationships, and systems that reflect a more evolved state of being. This isn't about perfection or reaching some ultimate destination. It's about progression, about choosing a new way of showing up in the world that quietly influences everything around you. And as more people choose alignment over avoidance, the collective shifts into a higher frequency naturally. So when you notice subtle changes in how people interact, in how conversations evolve, or in how global stories unfold, remember, it's all part of the same movement. The moon may shift signs, but what it awakens within humanity leaves a lasting imprint. These final days of July are a pivotal moment for recalibration, not just for you, but for the shared reality we all inhabit. What happens in these closing moments of July carries more weight than it first appeared. The moon's passage through Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio has already stirred clarity in the mind and truth in the heart. And now, it's about anchoring those shifts into something tangible. Start by creating a clean space around you. It isn't about aesthetics or organization for its own sake. It's about clearing stagnant layers from your environment so new energy can move through without resistance. Remove what no longer resonates, whether it's an item that carries an old memory or digital clutter that keeps you tethered to a past version of yourself. This act is more than tidying up. It's signaling to the universe that you're prepared to make room for what's next. Ground yourself through physical movement, whether it's walking barefoot on the earth, stretching slowly with intention, or simply standing in the sunlight. Let your body reconnect with the rhythm of the natural world. When you move consciously, you aren't just relaxing, you're aligning the physical with the energetic, integrating what has shifted inside you so it can stabilize. Think of it as syncing the inner updates with the outer reality. Water also carries a special charge now. Even a simple act of holding your hands under cool running water can reset your energy field. For some, a mindful bath or a slow ritual of pouring water over the hands while visualizing the release of outdated emotions will be enough to shift their frequency. It's not about complexity, it's about presence. Let every drop remind you that flow is always possible, even when life feels layered with transition. Sound is another key activator during this time. Play frequencies or music that resonate deeply,
not as background noise, but as a tool for recalibration. Speak words of affirmation aloud, with conviction. Your voice carries power, especially now. And when spoken with intention, it can program your mind and energy toward the timeline you choose. Even a simple sentence like, "I welcome what aligns with my higher self," repeated with awareness, becomes an energetic key that unlocks forward movement. Journaling briefly, not with over-analysis, but with pure honesty, can also anchor your intention. Write down one thing you are ready to release, and one thing you are ready to call in. Keep it clear and focused. Then fold that paper and place it somewhere safe, not as a task to revisit endlessly, but as a marker of your commitment. The act of putting it into words, however briefly, transforms a passing thought into a seed for manifestation. As you engage with these practices, remember they're not just routines, they're signals sent into the field around you, amplifying your readiness for the timeline you're stepping into. Each small action becomes an energetic declaration that you're willing to align with growth rather than stay tangled in what's outdated. Take time to honor the stillness between these actions as well. Allow space for integration instead of rushing to the next thing. Sometimes the most profound activation happens in the quiet after an intentional choice. Trust that what you've set in motion will ripple outward in ways you cannot fully see yet. Because what's shifting isn't only inside you, it's weaving into the collective fabric you're part of. The window between July 27th and 31st marks a threshold where clarity meets action. These rituals aren't just symbolic, they're energetic anchors for the transformations already underway. Even the smallest gesture done with intention becomes a spark that carries far beyond this moment. And when you honor that truth, you're not only aligning with your own evolution, you're contributing to the larger shift unfolding all around you. Type "I believe" in the comments to anchor this shift within you. Share this with someone who's ready to rise into their next chapter, because no one should walk through these days unaware of what's unfolding. May clarity meet you. May peace stay with you. And may every step ahead reveal more of the life you were meant to live.